chiropractic video workshops. We are on the new patient orientation, continuing on. Remember, we do these 5 minutes at a time to keep you motivated and on track. And if you want to ever join, you can go to our Google Plus page. It is on the Back to Life 5 Minute tab. So let's start our 5 minutes. Yeah, if you go to the Google Plus, you can actually join us and ask questions and stuff like that, which is always makes it more fun and exciting. So this is where we stopped off. We were talking about subluxations, and subluxation is a minor misalignment of your spine causing nerve interference. That is what chiropractics treat. And we were talking about how, medical doctors, when there's interference that causes headaches or, diseases or problems in your body, they give you medicines, but chiropractic follow the spinal nerve roots and use the nerve charts to see, and then they remove the interference, allowing your body to heal itself, because your brain almost produces like electrical impulse that goes to every cell of your body. And so when this is removed through chiropractic adjustments, which there are different types, which we'll learn about later, that only the weight of a quarter can cause 40 to 60% nerve interference, according to research. And so chiropractic believes that if you remove this interference, this weight a quarter off this nerve here, or getting this back in alignment, that your symptoms and your tissue damage and eventually your subluxations will leave, which will make you healthy. So you don't always want to put a Band-Aid on everything. So, if all you're ever doing, if you're having a lot of problems, they're always coming back and you're always having to take prescriptions. One of the big things nowadays is so there's a lot of wellness plans that, it's because you're taking 5 prescriptions. So it's taking 5 prescriptions really mean that you're well. So the thing is, you're just always Band-Aiding that. So you actually need to go to the source of interference, which is the spinal misalignment, which is causing disease and symptoms. So, and only damaged tissue gives you symptoms, and you can build disease without even knowing it. So that's why, some people call it the silent killer, because, you don't know, you might not know that you're have an interference until you get the symptoms, but you're subluxated a long time before that. So that's why it's so important to go to a chiropractor that uses, an exam technique that actually will pick that up. So how do you become subluxated? So a lot of people just don't understand subluxations, that, minor misalignment of the spine can cause tissue damage, and how can I get them? So this is some of the reasons you can get subluxations. Auto accidents. So auto accidents is one of the major reasons, because getting hit and the fact that your head's out in space and the whole car gets pushed forward, in a tenth of a second, you'll shear a lot of the vertebrae and the ligaments and the muscles, and that'll cause you to come out of alignment. So auto accidents is one. Falls, and it kind of falls, and you'll see that a lot in kids. Kids fall all the time when they're trying to learn, walk, play sports. Sporting injuries is another one. See that a lot. We do a lot of sports in our family, and so you see sports injuries all the time. And I'm telling you, I see an injury every so often, and that kid just got subluxated. So that's why it's so interesting. If your kids are in sports, have a lot of falls or an auto accident, you should be getting them checked out by a chiropractor. Trauma, repetitive movements. Unfortunately, going back to this one, trauma, you'll see trauma where you've been hit or something bad's happened to you, that will start to lead to subluxations. Repetitive movements, if you're a painter or a mechanic, or if you're doing lasering or something, but if you're doing something every day in a repetitive movement, then you're going to probably get subluxated, because you're causing, whenever you raise your shoulders up or do anything that makes these vertebrae work, which could lead to subluxations, especially if you're not doing it, but symmetrically. Poor posture, I think, is one of the leading causes of subluxations. And so, if you have a head anteriority, from looking down at your phone or at your tablet, that'll cause you to be subluxated. Chemical stress because chemical stress, we talked about that in our Eat Well, leads to inflammatory markers, which causes your nervous system to fire. Emotional stress causes you to be subluxated. Cortisol makes your nervous system fire, leads to visceral somatic reflexes, which will cause you to be subluxated. Nutritional deficiencies can cause subluxations. The birth process, like when they pull you out, you don't see this as much. They'll use the forceps, but you'll still see kids subluxating the SI joints and then in the atlas. That was 5 minutes. That was fast. Childhood falls and accidents is another cause of subluxations. So, but stress, having babies. There's my poor Belle. No, Belle's. She's excited to be a mom. That's my old lab, and she's pretty stressed out there. So, and then postural imbalances. So, and then sometimes accidents happen. I got into chiropractic personally because I got hit by a tarp bus while on a bike. Didn't see me and scraped against me, and my feet were strapped in. So that's how I became subluxated and did all the medical stuff. Could not get well. Supposed to get surgery while I was waiting. My mom took me to see my uncle Bob, who was a chiropractor in Salzburg, got adjusted and can move and walk again. And then I got into chiropractic. So we'll talk about this next time. As you start to get adjusted, your subluxations will start to leave. It's usually doesn't take just one adjustment to get well. Maybe if you just got subluxated, it would, but it's kind of like going to orthodontist, like braces. It takes a while, and then you got to correct the other things in order for you to hold your adjustments, like your posture, repetitive movements, and stuff like that. So there we go. We'll talk about that next time.